It's Monday, September 28th, and it's time for your Barbados Today morning news update. The Democratic Labour Party is ready to battle for the St. George North constituency on behalf of the people of Barbados. Re-elected DLP President Verla Depeiza made the declaration over the weekend after receiving the nod to lead the party for another year. She secured 349 votes to defeat lone contender George Pilgrim, who gained 197 votes. Ryan Walters was elected vice president, while Kimar Stewart secured the post of general secretary. Addressing the membership yesterday, Depeiza said, now that the internal election had settled, it was time for the party to take the challenge to the ruling Barbados Labour Party in the upcoming by-election.
We are ready to face the people of Barbados, and I want to see all of you, the 175 who can be in here with me today, and the hundreds and thousands more who are listening, to join us as we campaign in St. George. I want you to know that last Wednesday, the executive of St. George North met. They will meet again in the next 48 hours or so. You don't know it, council members, but your first meeting is tomorrow night, because we have no moment to spare in getting ourselves in gear to stand up on behalf of the people of Barbados all across St. George North. And this today is a clarion call for all hands on deck. We have no time to waste. The people of Barbados have been crying out, and we have heard them, and we are responding on their behalf.
The DLP president described the by-election as a prosecution of the BLP administration over the last 2.5 years.
We know that we have a plan and a policy to offer alternative to the present administration. We know that we have proposals that will put people first. And we're not about the cliches and the meaningless statements. It is what we do that we will be judged on. And that is why I stated before and I repeat again that the by-election in St. George North is a prosecution of this present administration over the last 2.5 approximate years, and they will not be allowed to hide under the cloak of COVID, because their administration before that was wanting. And we will go to St. George North and let the workers know that even if others have let them down and put personal interests before their own, that the Democratic Labour Party remains committed to people. And that we are ready again. We had time enough to lick our wounds, but all wounds heal over time once you apply the medication. And we spent the last 2 years first listening.
Meanwhile, the ruling Barbados Labour Party kicked off its by-election campaign for the St. George North seat last night, with candidate Senator Tony Moore giving a sneak peek into her vision for the constituency if elected to office. Moore was selected to replace a Member of Parliament Glenn Clark, who officially demits office on September 30th. Addressing the political meeting at a Flat Rock playing field, Moore made it clear that she was ready to work on behalf of the people.
We want to see a transformation of agriculture in St. George. And I'm not talking about seeing our people merely as hewers of wood and stone and the bearers of water. I am talking about moving from fork and hoe to greenhouses, hydroponics, and aquaculture. In St. George, we do not have a sea, but there's nothing stopping us from farming fish. And my vision is one where we would want to see more commercial offices as we drive down Lower State. We're proud of the ones that we've seen sprung up. But we want to see more industrialization coming to St. George. I want us to start growing what we eat and also processing what we grow to the point of creating new cottage industries in St. George. St. George North must become a major supplier to the resuscitating of the tourism sector. We cannot be importing chutney and barbecue sauce and canned vegetables. In St. George, we want to be able to plant and process the things we eat. That's why I'm very interested in the feedlot program earmarked for layers and enunciated in the throne speech.
Moore also hit back at her critics.
I understand that serving as a backbencher will not require me to take off the trade union hat. I come from an organization with a legacy of leaders who have been instruments of positive change while serving in the House of Assembly. We do not have a legacy of being a fly-by-night organization whose leadership sits perched like a paling cock, keeping real noise to get attention, but doing little else. I stand on the shoulders of the real trade union veterans in Barbados, whose words have influenced decisions, and who do not seek to inspire anarchy, and who have used the power of the people behind them to bring meaningful change to this country. So there are some who would want to tell you that I should resign from my office as General Secretary of the Barbados Workers Union. They say so, and they know why. Because it is the only way that any seat that I take under the objective of serving workers and people of Barbados will have meaning is if I continue to serve. They know why, because if I resign from the Barbados Workers Union, my influence on decision making is cut.
Meantime, Prime Minister Mia Mottley is holding the date of the by-election close to her chest. Addressing the gathering, she too responded to critics over the party's choice to select a trade unionist to represent St. George North.
Honestly, I really want to know. You mean to tell me that Grant Lee could have choose a union leader and run him in the form of Hugh Springer, but Mia Mottley, the woman, can't choose another woman to run as a unionist? You mean to tell me that Grant Lee could have choose Frank Walcott to run in St. Peter, but Mia Mottley, a woman, can't choose the next woman to run as a unionist? You mean to tell me that Errol Barra could have choose the same Frank Walker after he was an independent and put it to run, but Mia Mottley, the woman, can't choose the next woman to run in the third decade of the 21st century? You mean to tell me that Errol Barra and then Erskine Sandiford could choose Leroy Truckman to run, but this woman, Mia, can't choose the next woman to run? You mean to tell me that Hugh Cummins and Grant Lee could have settled upon Kieran, our husbands, as an assistant general secretary to run, but this woman, Mia, can't choose Tony to run? You mean to tell me that the Dems could have choose Evelyn Graves and could have choose Bobby Morris and could have choose Yvonne Walks? I can't choose one to run?
Visitors will be able to experience Barbados on a virtual platform in the near future. Minister of Tourism and International Transport, Senator Lisa Cummins, made the announcement in her address to mark World Tourism Day, which was celebrated yesterday. She said the plan is part of key initiatives which will be announced over the next few months.
We here in Barbados are going to invest significant resources and time to ensure that we bring technology into our sector. We're digitizing our processes under the BEST program. We're digitizing the processes that are going to ensure that we're able to gain a competitive advantage. But we're also transforming the way in which we engage with the world. So tourists, visitors, Barbadians alike will now be able in the coming months to experience Barbados on a virtual platform. We're using the technology. We want to be able to ensure that you are able to sell goods and services as Barbadians to the world wherever they are using the technology platforms. And that is going to be a key plank of where we go in the future.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Two news from our regional neighbors now. The COVID-19 pandemic continues to take its toll on the Bahamas, with the country's national carrier, Bahamas Air, announcing plans to cut more domestic flights. We get more in this report from Eyewitness News.
We're going to have to reduce our schedules. We can't afford to pay to go every day like we've been going. So we're going to reduce our schedule until requirements change.
Bahamas Air Chairman Tommy Turnquest revealing the national flag carrier will have to scale back on an already limited flight schedule as demand plunges due to tight restrictions on domestic travel. The Prime Minister gave the green light earlier this month for commercial air travel to resume on September 9th. And although the current emergency order notes that a negative COVID-19 test is no longer required for inter-island travel, except for those traveling from New Providence, a 14-day quarantine period is still required.
I think that we have to, again, begin to build demand. And demand, in my view, will only be built if the requirement to go to the Family Islands do not require a COVID-19 negative test result, and that you have to quarantine for 2 weeks when you get there. If you leave from New Providence. New Providence is our base, you know. I mean, all our flights leave out of New Providence. That's where the planes sleep at night. So as long as you have the quarantine in place, nothing's going to happen in terms of demand.
And finally, on the international scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has nominated Amy Coney Barrett to be the new Supreme Court Justice. Speaking at the White House Rose Garden, the president described Barrett as a woman of unparalleled achievement. The nomination, however, has resulted in demonstrations. We get more in this report from Reuters TV.
Protesters gathered outside the Supreme Court on Sunday, demanding Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's seat not be filled until after the presidential election. Across the street, anti-abortion protesters also rallied, calling for the confirmation of President Donald Trump's third Supreme Court nominee, Amy Coney Barrett. The demonstrations came as Senate Republicans prepare a concerted push toward quickly confirming Barrett.
We're optimistic.
And speaking on CBS's Face the Nation, White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows predicted the upper chamber will lay out an aggressive timeline.
We've been in conversations with Leader McConnell, with Chairman Graham. He is going to put forth a pretty aggressive schedule for hearings and markups that we believe will happen in the middle part of October. And if all goes well, then certainly a vote on the floor sometime before the election.
Trump has urged Republicans who hold a Senate majority to confirm Barrett by the November 3rd election. But Democrats, including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, say the pick should come from the winner of the election.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.